What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD video. So today we are going to be talking about the CX9. So last week I did finally achieve Diamond Camo with it. And I will say, I mean, it's a pretty solid, camo. It has pretty good coverage overall. And I mean, it's kind of expected. It's Diamond Camo. When is it ever not going to look good? But I did finally have the chance to use this gun in various maps. And to give my final review, it was kind of a complicated thing given the state of the game right now, because I feel like I can't really use this gun to its fullest potential. However, when I reviewed it the first time getting a Damascus, I did make some mistakes. I did mention, previously that this gun didn't have any barrels that helped the bullet speed attribute, but I was actually wrong about that. So I think it's the 38E barrel, basically the heaviest one that gives you the most range and the most recoil control, is the barrel that does give you some bullet speed boost. Maybe, I think it's only up to like 25%. Every other barrel doesn't really do anything like that. So yes, I was actually wrong and I do apologize for that. But does it actually help in the grand scheme of things? And I would say, actually, yeah, it kind of does. Even if it's 25% bullet speed buffs, it's still something. I mean, it's better than nothing. And if you're trying to get someone from a little longer range, it does seem to have the shots land a little better. The reason why I didn't see that attribute before is because someone actually did mention in the comments that I didn't scroll long enough during the stream to find out whether or not it does increase bullet speed. And that's the thing, like, the menus aren't really that well, thought out when it comes to adding all the features. If there's a barrel or if there's any attachment that adds a large amount of features, sometimes you do have to scroll down to see if there's any other additional things. This is something that I kind of overlook at times. But yes, other than that, based on my knowledge, I think that's the only barrel that does increase your bullet speed. And it kind of has like basically just the same downsides and the upsides as that silencer barrel that does also increase your range. I guess that's kind of like the makeshift task force barrel without all the recoil downsides. If anything, there's recoil benefits to it. And it can be helpful. I mean, it was helpful during the shipment match, kept me off the map. And given that the map was, relatively small, I mean, it's shipment. I mean, it got me through the entire diamond grind, basically. So, yeah, I mean, that barrel is useful either way, but, if when you're going in longer maps, you're probably going to have to use that type of barrel, the one that increases bullet speed. However, when you are at these longer range maps, you do see the gun's flaws a lot more than you would in shipment. I would just say that. You go from making like 4 or 5 shot kills down to like 6 shot kills, 7 shot kills, even 8 shot kills with this gun. And sometimes it may not feel like much of a difference given that it shoots extremely fast. But I mean, there are times where you do need it to kill fast in order to, actually win gunfights. And I've kind of fallen victim to, I guess, losing a lot of gunfights because I overestimated the weapon's range. But that happens to me for the most part after, spending so much time in shipment. You're used to getting the maximum amount of damage because of the tininess of the map. But when it comes to the CX9, there's other complaints that I do have, but it really has nothing to do with the weapon itself. But it's currently how the game is functioning. What I mean by that is the ADS sprint out bug. So, as you guys know, ever since the Season 9 update came out, we've been having this issue with various weapons, I would say the majority of the weapons, where your sprint out time, like when you're sprinting and you go straight to the ADS, it's a lot slower than normal, almost to the point where you're kind of like playing Modern Warfare 2 mobile. Every gun out there kind of seems like you're trying to pick up like a 45-pound dumbbell weight from a gym. And again, this is affecting every gun. I would say probably the least of all is probably the snipers, but when it comes to most of the SMGs and all the assault rifles, yeah, it's kind of annoying. And the thing is that the way that I play with always sprint, or the auto sprint. So even if I move the joystick just a little further, it's always going to be sprinting. And that basically means that if I ever want to get into a gunfight up close, I'm going to have to deal with that extremely slow sprint out time. Unfortunately, the CX9 is not really immune to it, so I'm kind of suffering the most. I'm suffering with this weapon a lot because of that issue. But they said they were working on it, but yeah, it just makes it harder to get kills, at least in close range. When it's long range, it's a little easier, but in close range gunfights, if you're using like a QQ9 or even this one, it does not feel good. Sliding does help a little bit, you know, maybe jump shotting does help as well, but it's just so much of a nuisance. I've been trying to adjust to it. You know, it feels easier to adjust to if you're using an assault rifle, but when it comes to an SMG, it's a completely different story. So that's why I said earlier in the video that I feel like I can't really use this weapon at its fullest potential. I don't even know what the real sprint out time is. I mean, yes, you guys could tell me easily that I could just go to the stats to see how fast the sprint out time is, but it's one thing, like it's one thing to look at it from the stats page. It's another thing to feel it, to see how it feels like. So ever since this bug came out, I pretty much had to, like, I guess repace myself, you know, like adjust my pacing of how I, you know, usually play this game, and it fucking sucks, I'll tell you that much. Funny enough, there's someone on Reddit that actually made a full list of the guns that were affected and the ones that weren't affected. And it's almost like very, very suspicious, because the only two SMGs that are not affected currently is the CBR and the Switchblade. And for the assault rifles, the ones that aren't affected is the Kilo, Krig, M13, basically all of the best assault rifles. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels very deliberate. Keep in mind, they did, like most of actually all the guns at one point, I think when the update barely came out, it did have that sprint out bug on every gun. But then they, you know, made a mini update and it fixed some of them. But I think they only did it based on which weapons are used the most. And it kind of, you know, you can kind of see the correlation when it comes to like the weapons that are not affected by this bug. So yeah, I think that's what they actually did. They probably assumed that was going to be fixed fully, but of course, when they made the, you know, the seasonal blog post, a lot of people were still complaining that it's still a thing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, whether or not you're in any input, is probably suffering from this massively. So yeah, yeah, it's one of those things. If anything, it kind of shocks me that it's taking them this long. I mean, it only took them like a few hours to fix, you know, some of the guns. So I don't understand why it's taking them so long, but honestly, I can't wait for them to fix this finally so I could use this weapon as it should be used, or at least at its best. But as it stands right now for the CX9, I'm actually kind of liking the weapon. Again, I mean, that sprint out issue needs to be fixed for me to use it fully, like at its best. And I'm very hesitant to using it as of recently. I've been trying to adjust, again, like I said, it's not working out pretty well. Really, the only ones suspiciously that are able to be used very efficiently is the Switchblade and the CBR, like, of all weapons. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD mobile content, and I'll see you guys next time.